Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new video. Today we're going to be reviewing Manchester City bowing out of the Carabao Cup for the first time in 5 years to West Ham via penalties. Not great. Let's get right into our thoughts. Right, Luke, as I said, the first time in 5 years we have been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. The competition we thought was our own. Maybe there was a bit of complacency there. We just felt we had the right to win it. I don't know what it was. I felt it was an overall flat performance. I was watching it on a pretty poor stream, I'm not going to lie, with it not being on television. So I found it kind of hard to keep up with exactly what was happening. But from what I did see, it looked maybe like the game against Southampton a couple of weeks ago, or certain other games where we were really struggling to break down their defence. Me and you talked about it in the preview that West Ham will defend, and it's a massive game for them, and they'll want to do everything they can to win it. And they did defend really, really well. Everything we gave to them, which wasn't a huge amount by our own high standards, they dealt with reasonably well, West Ham. What are your overall thoughts on the game, your summary?
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. It wasn't the best game I've watched, I've ever seen from us. It wasn't ideal. I don't think there was a single standout player today. I'm not saying they were all embarrassing, but it just wasn't. It was so flat. It wasn't like right for me. Obviously, look, Palmer did what he could. I mean, I'm happy he got a start, which is brilliant. I'm happy he started the game against West Ham, but you can see that the level obviously is different to what it's like. Like as a Wickham. I'm not saying Bruges are a bad side, but you can see the top Premier League side like West Ham, they're a very good side. You can sort of see obviously the difference, and that he's still learning and learning his craft. So I'm not angry at him at all because it affects him to at least put a good performance or a good cameo where he could. It's just more at the players like Gundogan and De Bruyne that disappointed me. Also, maybe Russell Mahrez as well. Because look, don't get me wrong, I'm one of De Bruyne's biggest fans, but I'm not going to sort of sit here and sort of blow smoke up as and sort of say all this and that about him. Look, it wasn't great today, but none of them were either. So I think we just put down the fact that it was a bad day at the office, and it's something we've got to sort of move on from.
Yeah, one of my main points in the preview was that I suppose winning breeds winning, and whilst the Carabao Cup is not the most important thing in the world, and if you do come out or get knocked out of it, it isn't a disaster. I mean, it's not season ruining. Mm. But I suppose just for the following games after this, you got Palace on the weekend, got a big Champions League game against Bruges, which is kind of an opportunity to almost secure our place in the next stage of the Champions League. I just found this was a game tonight that if we just get over the hump, get through to the next round, and just keep the winning momentum going, keep the confidence going. We put a lot of goals past our last two opponents in Bruges and Brighton, and tonight it was just a complete opposite performance. I mean, it was so free-flowing attacking football against both Bruges and Brighton. We were really tearing them both apart. Both of them pretty decent teams as well. And then we come against West Ham, who are obviously, like I said in the preview, full of high spirits, a lot of confidence after beating Tottenham. They're doing well in their Europa League, and they showed why they're getting those results tonight. They really did. They came out with a game plan to sit back deep, hold City off for as long as possible, wait for their opportunity. They never really got a clear opportunity. I thought our defence dealt with anything that they brought to us pretty well. But then they got their reward, which was a penalty shootout, which, as you said before we went live, is a lottery. If it goes to a penalty shootout, doesn't matter how good you are, you can be prime Pep Barcelona versus Wickham Wanderers. It's still a lottery. Players can miss penalties off the spot. Would you be able to pinpoint, or you have any idea where you think it might have gone wrong? There were some funny decisions. Pep brought Mahrez off, wasn't playing great. De Bruyne wasn't playing great, but they still are players who can create something and would have been great for a penalty shootout. Do you think he was maybe thinking about Palace, taking the gamble that if he can get them half an hour's break with Palace on the weekend? Or what's your thoughts, mate? I'm finding it hard to pinpoint.
Yeah, I mean, also as well, I think Gundogan and De Bruyne doesn't work. It doesn't work.
You need Bernardo. You need Bernardo in there, mate. You need Bernardo.
Bernardo and De Bruyne together, brilliant. But it's like David. I'm not going to say obviously. I'm not going to be honest, different players, David Silva, but it's like that kind of partnership. It worked well. I just like with De Bruyne and Gundogan trying to do the same thing. It's like imbalanced. It doesn't really work. And again, I'm not saying both of them. Obviously, both of them play well when they're doing their positions. But you can't, if you're going to play a free midfield, you can't just have both of them going forward and one sitting back. It doesn't always work. You've got to have someone like rotating and defending, attacking as well. That kind of Bernardo player, you say, the one who works hard and does all the dirty work for you. So the other guy, a good one, De Bruyne, can go forward and help out the attack. And it's just having two of the players that want to go forward. It's too overloaded. It doesn't actually work really well. I mean, yeah, just Mahrez as well. I mean, look, Mahrez hasn't been awful this season. It hasn't been awful. Just tonight wasn't his game. Sterling, I'm just. When's the goal going to come? When's it going to come? I want him to score and end this this nightmare, but it just seems to me that it's just not working. I'm just each game, my confidence in him is just going down. I want to be positive, keep players going, but it just I don't think he should be playing next game against Palace. I think just bring back like Jesus in the team. Just bring up Foden into the team. I think Foden probably should have started tonight. I think he should have started. I think we should have gone for more of a first team, the proper first team. Got the result and brought the players on afterwards. But I don't know, it's a difficult one, man. I'm not like you. I'm trying to work it out myself as well.
I think either Foden or Bernardo. Obviously, a big point that I've taken away from tonight is, like I said, I'm not gutted. I'm just a bit kind of flat. I feel a bit flat. But a big point that I've taken away from is it very much interlinks with the point you made about Gundogan not working with De Bruyne, and you think that system kind of doesn't really suit either of those players. Is how crucial Bernardo is to this team. You saw last season when De Bruyne was injured in kind of January, February, and Gundogan came into fruition and was our top player and was top goal scorer, etc. Who was there with him helping him out? Bernardo. When De Bruyne is having his best periods, who's on the pitch helping him? Bernardo. You know what I mean? And then when you put Gundogan and De Bruyne together and there's no Bernardo, all of a sudden there's a massive cog in the machine missing, a lot of energy missing. Remember, De Bruyne and Gundo are both over 30 now, and they try to play similar roles, very technical players, put in good crosses, play through balls, but neither of them have the same A, centre of gravity, and B, unlimited energy to get around the park the way Bernardo does, and that's something that was missing massively tonight. That spark of creativity, that spark of energy that, like you said, Foden probably would have brought also. So overall, a really flat performance. I felt the midfield were slow and lethargic in their play. Mahrez couldn't find that bit of space that he usually likes to get onto his left foot. I think Palmer was decent. He was decent in his build-up play. He had a few decent runs, but I thought his final ball was poor. He made a few shots that were possibly a bit on the greedy side, but I think that will come with maturity, and Pep will stamp that out the same way it did with Foden and the same way it does with all young players. Just experience, learning when to pick your moments to shoot and whatnot. But overall, very flat. Do leave your thoughts down below in the comments as well on what you thought of that game if you saw it. I know it wasn't live on television, but for us, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly where it went wrong. You can't say this player is the reason, that player is the reason. As a collective unit, they were really only playing at about 55-60%, and when you play against a decent team like West Ham, that's not good enough. So with that said, let's move over to our player ratings and see what we gave each player. Okay, so we're going to put up our player ratings on screen now. As always, let us know down below your thoughts on the player ratings. What would you rate certain players? Would you give them higher? Would you give them lower? Etc. Just let us know overall. So across the back four and the goalkeeper, we gave them all the exact same rating. We gave them all 7. Stefan, Zinchenko, Aka and Stones, all 7, because we felt they actually didn't put a foot wrong between them. They really didn't. They didn't have much to deal with. There wasn't much to work with. And obviously they can't really contribute much going forward. Maybe one of them would have got higher if they were contributing regularly to crosses and attacks, but unfortunately they weren't. Just a flat performance, but they were fine. I think the defence is probably the most positives we can take. Of course, we gave Walker a 6, came off at half time, didn't contribute much because in the first half when he was on, in my opinion. Maybe he would have improved in the second half if he was able to go forward and use his pace, but 6 for him, 7 for the rest. Luke, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Stefan wasn't bad at all during the game. With defence, I thought it's good to see Ake back and Stones back. Get some game time. That's the most important thing. The way I look at it. And also Zinchenko. So, yeah, we didn't see the goal during 90 minutes. So that's positive. Kept a clean sheet. The only downside is that we didn't score. So, but yeah, I can't fault anyone with the back four today. I mean, Wall came off, but yeah, I agree with that completely.
I can't help but think maybe I'm being a bit critical of Stefan because he was fine overall, but with Ederson's experience and his regular game time, that just maybe Ederson would have stopped the penalty. But that's all coulda, woulda, shoulda, and it's just really just thinking into nothing. Really, it's just Stefan was fine, but he didn't save a penalty, so I'm being critical. But anyway, into the midfield, Fernandinho a 6, Gundogan a 5, and Palmer a 7. We gave Fernandinho a 6 because, similar to the back four, didn't have a lot of defensive work to do, but a defensive midfielder playing for Manchester City should be able to contribute a bit more to the attack, which I think he didn't do. I think he made a few big tackles, which was fine. That's vintage Fernandinho, but I would like to see him contribute more going forward tonight. He usually does, and Rodri has done this season. That's one of the reasons that we love Rodri a lot this season, because whilst he's great at his defensive duties, he's also very useful going forward. He can pick out a good pass, and he does have an eye for a shot, even though they don't always go in. Gundogan, we thought he was in a similar position to Fernandinho, very flat. overall just lacking energy, lacking pace, lacking creativity, ideas. And a point that we wanted to make, which we spoke about quite in depth before we went live, was the penalty situation. If it was left to me personally, I don't know about you, Luke. You can say your point in a sec. I would not have let Foden take the penalty. I really wouldn't have. Someone with the experience and who's a part of our leadership squad, Ilkay Gundogan, who has scored a goal in a penalty in the Champions League final for Borussia Dortmund, should be stepping up and saying, "Nah, Phil, you don't need this penalty. I've got this." So I was a bit disappointed in him in that regard or in that respect. You can tell me if I'm being over the top here, but that's just how I feel. I think a leader should step up and know when to say no to a younger player, even though he obviously is a cracking player, Foden. The leader should always override it. Palmer, the 7 we gave him is because he was quite good. He got his start. Luke said it in the first segment. It was important for him to get some game time. He did some good things, made some good runs, beat a few players, but his final ball was sometimes a bit greedy or not on point, but that's what will come with maturity, like I said a few minutes ago. Luke, that midfield, Fernandinho, Gundo, Palmer.
Yeah, agree. I mean, Dino, I think for me with Dino, right, I mean, I love him. I'm just any City fan, you know, anyone, but I'm starting to see the age a bit now. 37 years old, and, I think you can start to see that it's not a bad thing, because look, every player goes through that point, but you can sort of see now, like, he's still a brilliant player, and is a great, substitute for Rodri now, as they're getting towards that point. But you can definitely see now that it's not quite the same going forward as he was before. I think at the back, brilliant. Does a job. Always does the job there. But I think that's what he is now. He's more of a he's like a proper DM now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Rodri's the more progressive in terms of going forward. But again, that thing that's probably a good like substitute. If they say we've got a little game where the opposition attacking us, we can always bring on Fernandinho to sort of drop the defense, something like that. Gundogan, yeah, just wasn't great today. To go back to the point about playing Gundogan and De Bruyne together, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I think having two attacking midfielders, them two playing together, unless you have a Bernardo figure running around doing all you're doing all the mopping up after any mistakes you make, it's always important to have that. And in fact, we didn't have that at all. You can see the glaring, the obvious issues going on there. So yeah, it wasn't his best game. I agree with the 5. And Palmer, look, I'm happy for him. He's getting game time really, especially against a team like West Ham. So the fact that he got some game time wasn't awful. Did what he could. Yeah, the final ball was lacking, but he's 19 years old. Foden wasn't this good. It took a while to go as well. And so look, it's that he got some game time. But yeah, apart from that, I agree with Phil there, mate.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be overly critical of Palmer because I do appreciate that he's very young and he's lacking experience, and games like tonight were important because he'll learn a lot. When I say he was being a bit greedy, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm glad to see he's hungry to score. I'm glad to see he's hungry to get goals, but he'll learn to pick his moments a bit better as he gets more game time and as he gets experience, and Pep coaches him in these kind of situations. Moving into the front 3, you'll see we put a star beside Sterling, who we gave a 7 to, because today it was an overall mediocre performance from the team, and that's why we didn't get our goal to ultimately win the game. A 1-0 would have done it. We thought he made some good runs. He was showing some glimpses of energy and pace. He's just missing his goal, Raheem Sterling. He really is just missing his goal, and I can't help but think if he gets a goal on a night like tonight, it'll really help him. The floodgates may open, and he may really, really improve by another 15-20%. De Bruyne, we gave a 6, really off his top tonight. I hate criticising De Bruyne because he's such a magical player, but he was really, really off his top tonight. He wasn't making the runs, he wasn't playing the balls, he was lacking energy. I don't know, maybe he's saving himself for Palace in the weekend. Maybe they think the Premier League is worth focusing on a bit more, and I would understand that to an extent, but focusing on tonight's game, very flat and very poor from De Bruyne. Exact same for Mars. I don't even want to go into it in too much. It's the exact same, just flat, not his usual self, and it's just a matter of forgetting tonight and kicking on. Luke, that front 3, those ratings, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Sterling, I mean, yeah, he gets our man of the match or whatever, but I mean, yeah, it was mediocre over the board. It wasn't exactly stellar from anyone today, but yeah, he didn't make some good runs. But I just want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see him. I'm not about to see a confident, free scoring Raheem Sterling, but at least get in the position to try and get a goal, maybe like a tap in. Any goal helps. It doesn't matter. I don't care what if he scores tap ins for the rest of the season. He's still contributing to the team. That's better than nothing. And yeah, I want him to find form, but as I said before, I'm losing confidence in him, and I really want him to sort of turn it around ASAP rather than having to look at maybe potentially selling him down the line. But hopefully that changes in the next few weeks. De Bruyne, yeah, I mean, like you, I love De Bruyne. He's absolutely brilliant. I mean, every City fan loves Kevin De Bruyne, but even the greats like David Silva and Torre had bad games now and again, mate, or bad patches of form. It happens, and he's one of the greats, one of the greatest City players of all time. He's having a bad season yet, fair enough. But the way I look at it, I'd rather have him in the squad, around the squad, because he can deliver a ball or get a goal out of nothing. I've seen it at Anfield recently. Also, with Bryson didn't actually score a goal, but created a lot of chances to everybody came on. So, but it wasn't his best game today, but it'll be alright. He'll find his form again at some point. And Riyad, yeah, just I love Riyad Mahrez. He's a great player. It's not a bad season by any imagination, but was just one of his worst games. So it just wasn't him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, was the ball. It's a shame, really. But I just hope against Palace they can sort of sort themselves out and get themselves ready to go again.
Absolutely, that Palace game, it's a huge game to turn around now. Obviously, if we'd won tonight, I would have said just keep going, keep the momentum. But now it's a time for City to show their character, bounce back, and put in not just a winning performance, but a big performance. Show us why tonight was just a blip. Show us why tonight was just a one-off mistake or one-off not good enough below par performance. We'll talk about it again in the Palace preview, a bit more in depth on that sort of concept. But in terms of tonight, yeah, we gave Sterling our City man of the match tonight in inverted quoted commas because we like to give it to someone, but it's hard after a loss to pick someone. So let us know your thoughts, like I said, down below on our ratings. Will you change any of them? Anybody higher, anybody lower? Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Listen, lads, unfortunately we come crashing out of the Carabao Cup for the first time in 5 years. It was an enjoyable run, but now it's time to focus, let's be real, on the big ones. The Champions League and the Premier League, slightly less so the FA Cup, but those two big ones, it's really time to focus and show what we're made of. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you very soon. Good night.